In a kingdom long ago, there lived a king who had an incredibly clever minister. This minister was the king's right-hand man, a problem solver extraordinaire. No major decision was ever made without his counsel. But as you can imagine, this level of trust and respect made the other courtiers green with envy. They were always looking for a way to bring the minister down a peg. One day, during a court assembly, the king turned to his trusted advisor and said, "Minister, you are a man of great intellect, a true genius. But tell me, how is it that your son is so utterly foolish? He seems to have no sense at all." Hearing these words, the minister's heart sank. He felt a sting of embarrassment, but he kept his composure. "Your Majesty," he replied, his voice steady, "I'm surprised to hear you say that. What has my son done to make you believe he is foolish?" The king chuckled, and the other courtiers smirked, sensing their moment. "Well," the king explained, "every single morning, when I take my walk to greet my people, your son is always there. And every single day, I ask him the same simple question. Which is more valuable, gold or silver? And without fail, every time, your son chooses silver." As the king finished speaking, the entire court erupted in laughter. The minister felt his face flushed with shame. The sound of their mockery rang in his ears. Without saying another word, he bowed to the king and left the court. He went straight home, his mind racing. He found his son and, trying to keep the frustration out of his voice, asked him a direct question. "Son," he began, "tell me honestly, which metal is more valuable, gold or silver?" The son looked up from his book and replied instantly, "Why, gold, of course, father. Everyone knows that." The minister was even more confused now. "Then why? Why do you tell the king the wrong answer every single day? Why do you insist that silver is more valuable? Do you have any idea how much you embarrassed me today?" The son smiled gently and said, "Father, come with me." He led his confused father to his bedroom. He knelt and pulled out a large wooden box from under his bed. When he opened the lid, the minister's eyes widened in disbelief. The box was overflowing with gleaming silver coins. It was a small fortune. "Where? How did you get all of this?" The minister stammered, completely astonished. The son's smile grew wider. "Father, these are the coins the king has given me. Think about it. Every morning, he offers me a choice between one gold coin and one silver coin. I take the silver one. He laughs, feels clever, and goes on his way, happy that he has proven his point about my foolishness. But what do you think would happen the day I pick the gold coin?" The minister stood in silence, the realization slowly dawning on him. His son continued, "The moment I take the gold, the game is over. The king will have his confirmation that I've finally learned my lesson, and he'll stop asking me. He'll stop giving me a coin every day. He enjoys thinking I'm a fool. It makes him happy. So, for the small price of my reputation in his eyes, I receive a silver coin every single day. Why would I trade a daily stream of silver for a single piece of gold?" Hearing this, a wave of pride washed over the minister, replacing all the shame he had felt earlier. He looked at his son, not as a boy who brought him embarrassment, but as a young man with a kind of practical wisdom that went far beyond what most people could see. He understood that true intelligence isn't always about showing off what you know. Sometimes, it's about knowing what not to show. From that day on, whenever the king or the courtiers would mock his son's foolishness, the minister would simply smile to himself. He knew the truth. This story reminds us of a simple but powerful lesson. We live in a world where some people make a huge spectacle out of small achievements, while others accomplish great things quietly, without any need for applause. The world might not always understand your methods. People might call you foolish, strange, or even crazy, simply because they don't see the bigger picture you're painting. But if you are confident in your path, if you know that what you are doing is right for you, then the opinions of others don't really matter. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand.